Hello everyone. The last year we learned something about type of sentences and connectors. Today we are going to make a review of it in order to improve the writing process. First of all, we have a chart that shows us different connectors that you can use in formal and informal language. So we have however, nevertheless, on the other hand, on the contrary, even so, notwithstanding, though, otherwise, at the same time, alternatively, instead, nonetheless, conversely, by contrast, in contrast, but, yet, while, whereas, although, even though, despite, or in spite of. Here we are going to explain them in order that you can use it in your writing process. We're going to start with however. It is used to indicate a contrast or contradiction. For example, that man has much money. However, he isn't happy at all. Or she sings very well. However, she is a stutter. I respect my best friend's ideas, however, we don't have the same thoughts. So I think that it's very clear the contrast or contradiction. On the other hand, it is used to say something that is different from the first thing mentioned. For example, I like playing football. On the other hand, my brother likes playing basketball. This private school is very expensive. On the other hand, education of the school is very well. We had no money, but on the other hand, we were very happy. So on the three examples, you can see that the topics are different. Even so, it is used to indicate something that is unusual or extreme. For example, this hypothesis is true, but even so, further research is required. This dive may be dangerous for us. Even so, we have to do it. Your thoughts are very fanciful, but even so, they are worth to imagine. Though it is used to show that two ideas are opposing one another. For example, though it is not exactly accurate information, it is said that there are three workers under the tent. Though the meal was spicy, it was really delicious. Though he loves his teacher very much, he didn't get used to his friends. At the same time, it is used for two things which happen together. For example, this is so people can watch TV and play PlayStation games at the same time. Child's story made us cry and laugh at the same time. I study architecture at university. At the same time, I work part-time at a firm. Instead, it means in place of something or someone else. For example, there is no chocolate now. I can give you some sugar instead. Would you like to go to another place instead of cinema? Instead of complaining, you should try to be a constructivist. Conversely, it is used to express an idea that is different from or opposite the other idea mentioned before. For example, I thought she would not come to the party. Conversely, she came to the party with her boyfriend. Women want a lot of things from their husbands. Conversely, men don't want many things from their wives. His family made a lot of effort to make their son's lessons better. Conversely, he never made any effort. In contrast, it is used to compare two things or people and to say that the second one is very different from the first one. For example, this child is short and fat. In contrast, her sister is tall and thin. Some people are extroverts. In contrast, some people are introverts. In contrast to his big brother, he speaks English very well. Yet, it is used to add something that is surprising after the first sentence, which are mentioned before. For example, it's a long-term business, yet it's more fun than other jobs. The weather was snowy, yet it was not cold. That woman was short and overweight, yet somehow she was attractive. Whereas it is used for comparing two things which have significant differences from each other. For example, chicken meat is white, whereas cow meat is red. You can do what you want outdoors, whereas it's impossible to do them at home. Her hair has a natural wave, whereas her sister's hair just straight. Even though it is used as a stronger way to say though or although. For example, he always gets the highest grade from the courses, even though he does not work regularly. Even though I met all the criteria needed for the job, I was not hired. My father will go to the work, even though he has two painful operations. Nevertheless, it is used to say something which contrasts with what has just been said. For example, the place was so beautiful. Nevertheless, we didn't want to spend our holiday in here. They lost the game. Nevertheless, they continued to play. It is a very crowded city. Nevertheless, thousands of migrants come to the city each year. It is used to show that a thought or feel which is the opposite of what has just stated. For example, A. Have you written a letter? B. On the contrary, I have not even started writing. I'm not sad. On the contrary, I'm very happy. This election will not bring prosperity to the country. On the contrary, chaos will increase. Notwithstanding, it means despite the thing mentioned. For example, he continues to exhibit the same behaviors. Our warning notwithstanding. These drugs seem to be different, notwithstanding having same contents. Notwithstanding two players getting red card, the team won the game. Otherwise, it is used to show what the result will be if the thing or condition mentioned before does not occur. For example, I had better study for my exams, otherwise I won't pass the courses. Leave my house now, otherwise I will call the police. Take your umbrella, otherwise you will get wet. I missed the letter A in the word take, sorry. Alternatively, it is used to propose another possibility. For example, you can play football. Alternatively, you can go to the cinema with me. They can call us to contact, or alternatively, they can send an email to us. I think we can go far away for vacation, or alternatively, we can go where we went last year. Nonetheless, it is used to link two contradictory thoughts. For example, he worked with very little salary, but he was happy with his job nonetheless. She didn't like teaching, but she became a teacher nonetheless. It's not my case. The food was unsalted, but is what nonetheless delicious. By contrast, it is used for the act of comparing in order to show differences. For example, David is unaware of what is around. By contrast, Lisa is very cautious. Children like crowds. By contrast, elders prefer solitude. My daughter is very active. By contrast, my son is so moody. While it means during the time or throughout the time. For example, while Jackson was in London, he went to see Julie. While you were pregnant, my little girl was 1 year old. Or while you were talking on the phone, the door was knocked. Although it is used for introducing a new statement that makes main statement surprising. For example, although nobody is at home, some sounds are coming from the house. Although she loves her job, she decided to quit her job. Although he works hard, he isn't successful in the course. Despite or in spite of. It is used to show something which happened without being affected by something else. For example, I can manage to stay cheerful despite everything. In spite of warnings, he didn't take any precautions. That man is very stingy, despite having a lot of money. I really hope that you have learned something new and remember the things that we have learned during the last years. And of course, you have to show me that you have learned something. So, first of all, you have to read the handout that you have already received and follow the steps of writing process and use all the things that you have learned these years. I mean, first, second, and third year, and previously too. And of course, you have to write an essay and send it to me by email. So, good luck and bye bye.